Hello everybody, it's December 10th, I'm Nurgleprobe. Welcome to my top 100 games of all time list. Today we're looking through games 64 to 61. Yeah, 64 to 61. And yeah, let's just jump in there. My number 64 is a game that I wish I could talk about for a long time, but since we're doing this in a series form, I'm not going to waste a lot of time with each game. But my number 64 is EVE Online. And the one thing that I just want to start off by saying is that, yes, EVE Online is really hard to get into. The learning curve is so big that you could play this game for years and still realize things about it that you did not actually know. Some kind of control or some kind of thing that you could do within the game. And, oh man, where should I start? One thing that I usually say about this game is that in most MMORPGs, you feel like a piece of a made-up story. You're playing a game where you are part of a story that is not manufactured for you necessarily. It's a story that they manufactured for the game, if that makes sense. So you're playing through this story, but it doesn't feel like they are taking into account your experiences when you play the game. They're just telling the story that they've written. Like reading a book, but it's not really about, even though it's from a me perspective, you realize it's not really about you. And EVE Online, you are the characters in the game. You create the stories. You make the things happen in this game. The community in this game controls so very much. It takes place in space. And it's an open world, insanely open world kind of sandbox experience where when you start out the game, you're out in space in a pod. Welcome. That's it. And there are, of course, tutorials and guides to where you should go first and where you should begin and things that you can do to learn the game. But you don't have to. You could basically just go the other way and go wherever you want and do whatever you want. And the reason the players control this game is that they build the groups of people, they control space, everyone can shoot everyone depending on the security of the section of space you're in. So there's low sec and high sec. In high security, you can't shoot other people. Well, you can actually shoot other people, but then the law enforcement will come and shoot you down, and you will become a criminal for a short period of time as well, so that any player can shoot you down without taking punishment for it. You can also put bounties on players and tell people to hunt down. Man, everything EVE Online is so great. You've probably heard the stories about the big battles with ships are destroyed for an insane amount of money and stuff like that. And that is how it feels when you play this. If you built a ship, if you spent hours getting a ship, and that gets shot down, you lose that ship forever. That ship, that one ship that you used, and everything you had on it is gone now. Well, someone else picked most of the stuff up and stole it from you, and you're kind of sad about that. Especially when you've been out in low-sec space for a few hours to like grind items and gears, or when you've mined for hours and you leave and suddenly pirates appear and they shoot you down and then they escape, and you're like, what? My mining? And it's a great game. Try it. Just give it 1 month. If you don't like sci-fi, then don't. But if you like sci-fi, and if you like to be a part of the story and the world, play this game. My number 63. Man, right after talking about EVE Online, I must say every game I could talk about now feels so much less worth on the list. But it's overall experience thing, so yeah. My number 63 is an old PlayStation 2 game that is not well known at all, called Shadows of Destiny, or Shadow of Destiny. And you are Ike, I believe his name is, and you die. And that's it. That's the story. But you die, and somehow you are teleported back in time by this creature called Mongolis. I don't remember the name of it, but you're moved back in time, and you are supposed to save yourself. And man, the story's kind of hard to explain without spoiling things. But that's basically it. You're moved back in time, save yourself, and then you die again. Because obviously it's kind of hard to save yourself from dying since someone is out after you. And you have to figure out who and why, and this story kind of the interesting thing is the story evolves depending on your options and who you talk to throughout the game. So there's actually like 5 different endings, and it's really interesting and really, really good. One of the few games. It's not a very long game, and I don't think everyone will love it, but I just love the way they told the story, and the theme was, the time travel thing was kind of interesting, and I just enjoyed it back then. So yeah, my number 63, Shadow of Destiny. My number 62 is the Advance Wars series. Actually, no, it's not the series, it's the latest of the games, because that is the one that has a more serious topic. Advance Wars in itself is a strategy game for the DS system, and it's a turn-based strategy game that you play over a grid, where the main goal of every mission, or most missions, is to take down your opponent's HQ with an infantry unit that can capture it in 2 turns, depending on how many soldiers are left in the unit. Every unit starts with 10 soldiers, or 10 units in the unit. Makes sense, right? And they have special abilities, special weaknesses and strengths. There are different areas on the map that gives you different protection, that's easier to move through. Vehicles can't move through mountains, infantry can. Vehicles move slower to the forest. I think everything moves slower through the forest. And then on the roads, the vehicles can move further, and yada yada. And it's one of the best strategy games on a handheld system. I think it's the best, especially for me at least. And I just really love the Advance Wars series. I can even tell you that we started playing this. There was an old Japanese version. There's an old Japanese game called Wars, I think, that was out for the Game Boy, and we had that. We didn't understand anything of it, but we tried it. We tried and learned it. Obviously, we didn't know what was going on, but we moved around the units, and me and my brother used to play it, and that was something that you could do with that game. There was actually a 2-player experience where you just move the screen to the other player. So you ended your turn, the screen became black, you move the console to your opponent, and they play their turn, and then you did that back and forth. It's a really good game, a really good game series. All of the games in the series are great. The latest one took away the humor aspects of the first few games and made it a bit more serious, and everything, because in the first 2 Advance Wars for the DS, everything was like, let's go to war and kill people, da 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 da, and happy music and colorful things, and while in the last game they kind of removed that and made it more serious and horrible, and war was a horrible thing, and people died, and everything was very dramatic, and I just love that they dared to take that move into a more serious setting with this game, and it was kind of what it needed to feel different and better and interesting. So yeah, Advance Wars, great series of games. My number 62, by the way. My number 61 is Red Alert 2, an RTS game for PC that continued the Command & Conquer Red Alert side of the story, which was basically a World War II setting instead of the more futuristic setting that Command & Conquer was to begin with. And Red Alert 2 took aspects from the old Command & Conquer games and went their own way and made it interesting. And like all the Command & Conquer games back in the day, they actually had live action like cutscenes where there was someone telling you the story, giving you orders, like your leader or your commander or your general or whatever it was, telling you what was going on and telling you why you were motivated to go on this next mission. And I just loved that with those games. And I think this game was still made by Westwood before EA took it over. So man, Westwood was so good at making these RTS games and making it interesting. Red Alert 2 was probably one of their last games, and definitely worth looking into if you enjoyed those. If you enjoy StarCraft and Warcraft and games like that, take a look at the Red Alert series and the Command & Conquer series. They definitely deserve some of your playtime, definitely. So my number 61, Red Alert 2. There we go. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'm sorry if I went babbling on these games. I am kind of tired. It's early morning. Might not look like early morning, but it is. It's December 10th, and yes, we went through games 64 through 61, and I must say, when I talked about EVE Online this time, I feel like it should have been higher on the list, but the fact is that I don't play it that much because there's a subscription fee to it, unfortunately. yeah, but when I talk about it, I just realized that it could be my number one game. But because of the subscription fee and because of the way that the amount that I play it, and the fact that I would actually put the other games over it if I had the option just to sit down and play a game. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching this part. Remember to come back tomorrow when we look at game 60 to 57, I think it is. So yeah, come back for that. You can click the links down over here, all over the place here, and then down below, and you can find the whole playlist there. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and take care.